Hi, and welcome back to episode 2 of this Psychologies magazine program on emotional intelligence called Embrace Your Emotional Intelligence so that you can cure your bad moods and create a better life. Hi, my name's Julie Leoni. This is week 2 of the course, so I'm a life coach and psychology teacher. I work with children and young people, emotional intelligence and wellbeing in schools. I've practiced meditation since I went to India when I was in my early 20s, and I do yoga, and I learned about emotions the hard way by hitting the wall and having an episode of stress about 12 years ago. So I'm not sitting here as someone that has all this sorted. Anyone that knows me would know that I sometimes use emotions inappropriately. So this is a journey that we're all going on, and we're just learning little bits here and there to make our emotions our friends. So last week we had a look at finding the vocabulary for the emotions that maybe we were not given words for when we were younger, because we looked at how families have emotional scripts where some people do some emotions and others don't, and so we were hopefully watching television programs and playing Name That Emotion. So this week is really looking at how to bring that home into our own body and embrace our own emotions, and then how to soothe ourselves when there's emotions that we feel uncomfortable with. So the first part of that is, and I know it says in the pack, maybe to watch Inside Out, which was a film aimed at kids, but it's brilliant. So it's all about the inner workings, and there's a character called Sad, and there's an angry character, and they're all going on inside the main character. And it's a real way of helping you understand the purpose of each of those emotions. So in terms of embracing our emotions, there's a huge cultural scripting around emotions that are good and emotions that are not good. And so happiness, we like to think that we can be happy, or curious, that's maybe an allowable emotion. But things like rage or jealousy, they're seen as bad emotions that we have to kind of not admit to and push down. But the problem with all these emotions is that they have a physical starting point in our body, and they're all really necessary for our emotional well-being. So actually we need all of the emotions. So let's just play around with a few emotions. So the ones that we tend to think about as negative are the ones maybe that people come to these courses for. So what are they for? Anger. What's the point of anger? Well, anger's often a way when we know someone's crossed one of our boundaries. So if someone takes something of yours without asking, or breaks something of yours, you might feel angry, and that's because they've crossed a boundary and you feel hurt and upset by that. Anger can also act as a shield emotion. So fear and vulnerability and sadness can make us feel small and vulnerable, and so often anger kind of comes in like the tough big brother to ward people away, to protect our vulnerable self. So sometimes anger is a secondary emotion, and behind that is a more vulnerable emotion. But anger is also very good, obviously, for protecting. That rage that you might feel if someone's mean to one of your kids is a tiger protection of self and others. So anger is not bad. What we do with it, we have to make decisions about what to do with anger. So if we go around punching things all the time inappropriately, that's not great. But if we get cross with someone who's in our space, that's entirely appropriate. Sadness, what does sadness tell us? Well, if you do watch that film, you see it's when we've lost something that was precious to us. We don't feel sad about things that we didn't care about. We feel sad about things that were meaningful to us, whether that was people or a dream or a hope or a lost opportunity. And why that's useful is because it lets us know what matters to us. So if an opportunity's passed you by at work and you feel really sad you didn't get that promotion or that job, that alerts you to the fact that actually I want to do more of that. If we feel relief, oh, thank God I didn't get that job, then that's interesting too, because what that's telling us is, oh, that wasn't for me. I thought in my head it was for me, but actually my emotions are saying, no, I feel huge relief that's passed by. So joy, happy emotions, joy, what's the point of joy? Well, joy, excitement, exhilaration, those are emotions which guide us in the direction we do want to go. So if we feel really happy and relaxed when we're with someone, then that's a sign that they're someone who maybe we should spend more time with because we feel happy and relaxed with them. If we feel a bit nervous and anxious and on guard with somebody, then that's our emotions telling us to keep ourselves safe, to watch, to trust our gut instinct. One of the interesting things in the research that I did for my book, Into the Woods, about domestic abuse was how the women who'd entered those abusive relationships often knew that, had a gut feeling that these people were bad for them, but they let their head argue them out of it. But often our body feels it much more. So one of the exercises here is starting to think about, where do you feel something in your body? So, for example, sadness tends to make you smaller, makes you curl up, makes you want to cover your face, makes you want to look down. Excitement, open up, big gestures, smiling face, shoulders back, chest open, lots of energy. Excitement can also have a very similar feeling to fear. We get that sort of sicky feeling in our tummy, our heart starts to race, our breathing goes up, and so sometimes they can be confusing. We can confuse excitement for fear and think, oh no, I'm scared, so I shouldn't do it, whereas actually maybe we should, and of course it's scary. So excitement and fear are actually the flip side of the same coin. If you take a moment just to reflect on the last time you felt fearful, was there an element of excitement? Or if you flip it around, the last time you felt excited, maybe there was an element of fear there. Even things like first dates are great, aren't they? So you're really excited, but actually there's a nervousness there, and we feel it in the same place in our body. Things like anger, we feel anger in our body again, we tend to flush, our heart rate goes up, our muscles tense, our shoulders go up, our leg muscles are ready to fight or fly. Reluctance, we tend to move back. Curiosity, we tend to move forward. So one of the coaching exercises here is to start to notice what happens in your body when you're having an emotion. Start to embrace those emotions. So the questions really are, where do I feel it in my body? Can I name it? So go back to the list from last week. And what's this trying to tell me? What's the message of this messenger? So if I feel revolted by something, the message may well be, keep back. If I feel blissful, then it may mean do more of this. So as a general rule, if emotions make us feel good, make us feel relaxed, make us feel at ease, then whatever that situation, whatever that person, move towards that. If it makes us feel tense, squished, small, then move away from it. So really let emotions be your guide. So that's the first part. Now the second part is, of course, there's times where emotions, high emotions, kind of, they come like a tidal wave and they feel like they're going to engulf us. And that can happen with excitement, where you see it in small children where they're just beside themselves, they can't sit still, they're agitated, Christmas, they don't know what to do. And so actually sometimes those high energy emotions need exercising. So if there's a lot of excitement, then go for a run, do something, do some gardening, do some vigorous housework, use the excitement. But also there's the emotions where we might feel overwhelmed with grief, or we might feel overwhelmed with anxiety. So I'm just going to talk you through a couple of exercises, mindfulness and grounding exercises, that will help with that sense of overwhelm. Because it's not always that we can express our emotions and we can talk it through. If we're at work, we might just have to manage those emotions. So I find the toilet's a great place to do these exercises because you're not going to get interrupted, and they're quite quiet. So take yourself off, go sit in your car, go to the loo, go for a quick walk. And let's start with the first exercise, which is a grounding exercise. So wherever you are, just put down, if you've got pens and papers, just put everything down and just kind of think about your shoulders. So on the in-breath, you're going to inhale and bring our shoulders up, and on the exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. Now, if you want to do this with your eyes shut, that's great. I would normally do it with my eyes shut. I'm not doing anything interesting. So rolling your shoulders up, back and down, and just become curious of what's happening. So on the in-breath, inhale, out-breath, exhale. And then start to become curious about where your body's touching the chair. So by curious, I mean start to feel the sensations of the chair against your legs, against your sit bones, against your bottom, maybe against your lower back. And start to notice the pressure, the sensations, the warmth. And be curious about, well, okay, this part of my leg is touching the chair or the floor, but actually the other part of my chair isn't, and that might feel different. My legs that are not touching the chair might feel cooler, or they might feel more relaxed. And then just in your mind's eye, bring your attention to your feet. Make sure both of your feet are flat on the floor, and then just exert a little bit of pressure on your feet. So bring your attention into the sensation of your feet. You might want to wiggle your toes against your shoes and start to just become curious about what your feet feel like. And if you want to, on the inhale, you can tense up your toes, squish them up, or you can point your feet. And then on the exhale, relax. So on the inhale, you're tensing, and on the exhale, you're releasing. And so then start to become aware of any sounds in the room. So obviously there's my voice, but there may be a clock ticking, there may be birds, traffic. So just allow your sense of listening to become more acute. What can you hear? And then what can you smell? So inhale, you might become aware of the air. You might be able to smell cigarettes or just stale air if you're in an office. Is there anything that you can smell? Be curious about it. You don't need to name it or label it, just notice. And then bring your attention into your sense of taste. So in your own mouth, what can you taste? Again, it doesn't need to be labelled. It doesn't need to be, oh, this is onions, this is garlic, this is bad, this is good. No, just notice the taste, if there is a taste. And then start to bring your attention into your body and just become aware of your breath coming and going. You don't have to change it, you just have to notice it. You may become aware of your heart beating. And so what we're going to do now is just start to bring our attention more into our breathing. Now, through all of this, your mind might want to chatter or wander off or ask questions or get distracted. So just notice those distractions and we'll come back to them. So we're going to inhale for 7, counting at your own pace, and then exhale for the count of 11. So the inhale breath is shorter than the exhale breath. So breathing in for 7, out for 11. And the important thing is to count at the same pace on the way in as it is on the way out. So breathing in for 7, out for 11. And a couple more times in your own pace. And then, if your eyes are shut, bring your hands up over your eyes and open your eyes behind your hands, and then bring your hands away from your face, looking down at your palms. And just take a moment to look around the floor, then look around the walls before coming back into eye contact with me. And just, again, notice what's happened in your body, just in those small things. So grounding is when we use our senses to come into the present moment. So often emotions are triggered by thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, or something that's happened that's reminded us of those things. And the 7-11 breathing replicates if there was a grizzly bear coming through the door, I'd go, and then once I was relaxed, I would go, and so we're replicating what's called the parasympathetic response, which is the calm down response. So whatever feelings we've been feeling, we're kind of blowing them away on that breath. Now, there's lots and lots of meditation and relaxation exercises that you can access, but they're just a few. And someone once said to me, they're like parachutes. You have to learn to put them up before you need to. So just a 5-minute daily practice of noticing your senses, breathing in for 7, out for 11, morning and evening, so that when you need it, when you're feeling hijacked by a strong emotion, it's easier for you to find a space on your own and to just breathe through that. So thank you for being with me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you for week 3. And this week's homework is to notice and name your feelings. Ask them what they're doing to help you, because there will always be a reason that they're here to help you. And if you need to, ground and breathe at the end of that exercise. Okay, see you next week. Bye.